Why can't you offend Aries? Aries, the first zodiac sign, the sign of fire, ruled by Mars, the planet of war and energy. He is a true leader, a man who strives to always be at the forefront, ready to take responsibility for his own fate and for the fate of those around him. But, like any other person, Aries is not perfect, and he, like everyone else, has his weaknesses, which can become vulnerable if someone decides to offend him. Why can't you offend Aries? Why can his reaction to an insult be so acute and prolonged? Let's look into this in detail. Aries, a leader by nature. From birth, Aries feels the responsibility of being the first and leading. He always strives for success, leadership, and recognition. These traits make him incredibly attractive to people, and even among the most powerful personalities, you can find Aries, whose influence is impossible to miss. However, this rapid pace of life, the desire to be in the center of events and take control of the situation, create their own risks. Aries sometimes forgets about his feelings, trying not to show weakness. And if someone suddenly disrupts his inner balance, his reaction can be extremely violent. It is important to understand that although Aries outwardly seems like a man who is always ready for battle, he has an inner vulnerability. He lives at high speeds, always on the move, always under tension. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have feelings. On the contrary, when Aries feels resentment, he experiences it strongly, often much more than his appearance would suggest. He may worry that they didn't believe him, that they didn't understand him, that his efforts were perceived as something secondary. The fiery nature of Aries. Aries is a fire sign. This means that his emotions are bright and vibrant, and his reactions to insults are lightning, fast. He won't sit around and suffer if someone hurts his feelings. And unlike other signs, which can reflect on a situation and prefer a tactic of silent protest or solitude, Aries reacts to an insult instantly. His anger is not just an emotion. It is an outburst of the soul that cannot be contained. But this anger is not just a storm in a glass of water. This is the result of Aries feeling the deepest injustice or violation of their personal boundaries. It is important for him to have a sense of control over his life, over what is happening to him. When he is confronted with insult or humiliation, his world begins to crumble and he becomes extremely vulnerable. Honesty and fairness. One of the strongest traits of Aries is the pursuit of justice. He will not tolerate the slightest lie or deception. This is evident in his actions and in his relationships with others. Aries is always sincere and straightforward. He will not deceive you or hide his thoughts. But when he is lied to, when his feelings are manipulated or his trust is undermined, he feels betrayed. Betrayal is something that Aries does not forgive. As a rule, he does not discount mistakes, especially when these mistakes concern himself. And if someone decides to offend him, it can be not just an insult for Aries, but a real test. In such situations, Aries will either respond immediately or decide that the person who insulted him is not worthy of his attention. When Aries feels injustice, he becomes not just furious, he turns into a force capable of destroying everything in his path, and his reactions at such moments can be unpredictable, because not just anger is raging inside Aries, but a fierce desire to restore justice and regain a sense of control. Secrets of Aries' vulnerability. But if you think that Aries is exclusively a man with iron nerves, you are mistaken. Despite his outward steadfastness and stubbornness, inside he can be much more sensitive than he seems. His relentless pursuit of success and excellence is often accompanied by self-doubt. This is a paradox. Aries can be completely confident in his abilities on an external level, but at the same time deeply experience every failure or encounter with injustice. When he is bullied, his self-esteem is put to the test. He may shut down for a while, begin to doubt that he is right, and that his efforts and goals are worth continuing the struggle in general. But unlike other signs, which can suffer for a long time in the shadow of their grievances, Aries tends to show their pain to the outside, and this pain is often expressed through harsh actions or words. Thus, resentment for Aries is not just an emotion. It is a whole process of internal cleansing, which can be painful both for him and for others. Sometimes he will struggle with himself, with doubts, with discontent, with the fact that he failed to achieve what he wanted. But the most important thing is that resentment often becomes a catalyst for his development. If Aries decides that he has been insulted, he will definitely come out of this situation stronger and more determined. The consequences of resentment. If you have offended Aries, be prepared for the consequences. He probably won't be silent. He won't be able to hide his pain, and his reaction will be quick and sometimes violent. His anger can manifest itself in harsh words or actions, and this is not always easy to fix. Aries is not inclined to forgive those who betrayed him. Even if time passes, he can hold back his resentment, but he will never forget what was done to him. In addition, he may distance himself from the person who offended him. Honesty and loyalty in relationships are very important to Aries, and if he feels that these values have been violated, he will keep his distance, perhaps forever. The process of rebuilding a relationship with an Aries can take a long time, and sometimes he decides that it's better to move on without looking back. How to avoid resentment of Aries? Be honest. Aries values sincerity and frankness. If you need to say something, say it directly, without hiding your intentions. Don't manipulate him. Aries will not tolerate manipulation and lies. If you want to stay close to him, be open and honest. Don't try to control it. Aries is an independent person, and any attempts to manipulate him or force him to act against his will only lead to conflict. Respect his decisions. Aries likes to act on his own, and if you criticize his decisions, it can lead to a sharp reaction. Don't offend him in small ways. Aries can be sensitive to even minor remarks. If you said something that hurt his feelings, it's better to apologize right away to avoid long-term conflicts. Aries is a sign of fire, a sign of strength, determination, and leadership. But behind his bright exterior lies a deep inner vulnerability, which it is important not to violate. Resentment for Aries is not just a feeling. It is a sign that his principles and values have been affected. And although his reactions can be lightning fast and sharp, it is important to remember that Aries suffers from injustice in his soul, and his resentment is not quickly forgotten. Therefore, in order to maintain a good relationship with this bright and strong person, it is better not to bully his feelings and always be honest and respectful.